Welcome to the Dream Show. Yay. Today we have a wonderful, wonderful guest, Miss Amanda Rose, also known as Miss Rose, also known as Rosie. So take your pick. She's currently leading the pack right now with our dreamers because she actually started pursuing her dream quite a while ago. All right, Amanda, let's just jump right in. Tell people what your dream is. Let's start there.
Sure. So my dream through TMYD was to get into graduate school. So I did that in the fall, and now I just have to, go to graduate school. So yeah, sort of in the pursuit phase now.
Is going to graduate school something that you knew all along you wanted to pursue, or did that desire arise in TMYD?
So I always kind of expected that I would end up in graduate school. I really liked college. I liked learning. I liked the educational experience. But I just didn't know what I would be going to graduate school for. So the last couple years have just been figuring out sort of what made the most sense for me, what made the most sense for what I want to do long term. And like a typical 20-something, you're always kind of trying to figure out what you're going to do with the rest of your life. So I wanted to invest in a program that really, spoke to values and sort of the why behind what I do. So the long answer to your short question was yes, I always wanted to go to graduate school, and through TMYD sort of was able to dial in what program specifically I would get to go do.
Okay.
So.
And what program is that?
So I'm getting my master's in social work. So it doesn't really have a lot to do with marketing, but thankfully, we're all social beings, and humans by nature are, no matter if you're in our industry or a different one, you're sort of living within a system. And so social work is primarily kind of figuring out how to care for people in systems. Yeah. So even my job here as the training and development manager sort of allows me to exercise some social work skills for sure. Your job does too.
Oh, my job definitely does. We're in the same department, actually, in the differentiation department, so there's quite a bit of overlap. Is there any overlap between what you're learning and what you're doing here?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the largest consistent overarching thread that I can speak to is that you're sort of meeting people where they're at, and there's sort of this idea of this strengths-based approach within social work that I find really fascinating, and also kind of fits into the culture here, sort of leaning into what people are doing well as a way to sort of encourage them to continue developing, or maybe multiply their own personal impact. And then I've learned a little bit about this idea of intersectionality, which is a social worky word for a lot of experiences that sort of converge together for a person. So for example, being a female, or being from Southern California, or growing up in my socioeconomic status, lends itself to my experience. And so understanding, all of our people here, sort of the ways in which stuff can overlap and experiences can sort of either help or hinder somebody, is definitely something that I've been able to use here. It's mostly implied, since the first year of my program is mainly, super foundational, a lot of theory stuff, which doesn't necessarily cross over, but there is a little bit of learning that informs my job here. So, yeah. And then certainly in some of the training and development stuff that we're going to get to start rolling out, my experience within a graduate program is definitely going to inform sort of the curriculum of that, if you will. So, and the structure of that. So
that sounds like a great creative challenge to have to figure out how you can apply that
Very excited.
While you're here working.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I really want the bulk of this to focus on today is you have such a unique space in TMYD right now, because you have already been in the pursuit phase for a while, as opposed to most people who have just declared their dream and are just taking those first steps towards it. So share with us a little bit of what the process has looked like as you dedicate a lot of time to pursuing your dream, which I'm assuming is not easy when you're also still working full time. So what has that been like for you?
Yeah, so I feel super lucky to get to take a day from my time here and head up to sit in class, which is kind of unheard of and a little ridiculous that I get to do that. So I feel really grateful for that. It does kind of present issues because, you know, there's still 5 days worth of work plus to do around here. So figuring out how to sort of manage my time really well.
And probably learn more efficiency while you're
here.
Yeah.
Maximize every every little minute. My calendar is getting progressively more dialed in, which has been a really steep learning curve, but in a really like a great way for overall development. And then, yeah, you just kind of, I don't know, it's been a lot of really hard work. I think you kind of touched on this idea of like, now I'm in the pursuit phase, and so it was super exciting to get to share with everybody. And like the first couple of weeks, you're just kind of fired up about this new opportunity and this new environment that you're in, and
naturally.
Sort of getting into that rhythm. And then sort of some of that kind of wears off a little bit. And now that I'm, I don't know, 8 or 9 months into the program.
And you don't have people chanting for you
yeah,
anymore.
There's not a clapping tunnel or anything anymore every day I go to school. But yeah, certainly just figuring out new ways to be supported and communicate needs around here has been a really big thing, as well as, you know, just being vocal about needs that I have and trying to squeeze out minutes in my, you know, my weekends and my mornings and stuff like that. Thankfully, everybody here has been really supportive and flexible in a lot of ways with me as I've like figured out, you know, with finals or midterms or whatever. So there's a general feeling of understanding in that. I think I have a very high, as do like pretty much everybody else that works here. I feel like we all have very high motors, and we want to do a lot, and we want to contribute a lot.
Yeah.
And so being able
We're
to
like overachievers.
right. Yeah, there's effort and interest up the wazoo around here. So yeah, just wanting to make sure that I'm taking care of myself. And, you know, working with Paniota, it's like I'm thankful that my supervisor and the partners and just like different team members, they all kind of understand that I'm kind of burning the candle at both ends, but not in a way that's burning me out right now, thankfully. So looking forward to summer vacation, though.
I bet. Sure. I bet. That'll be a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
When did you start this master's program?
I started it end of August last year.
Okay. So you've had quite a few months for the initial excitement to wear off and just really get into the nitty gritty.
Yep.
So in that, now that you're 8 months in or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Somebody's going to comment and correct me on that. I know it.
Yeah.
But where have you been? What have been your sources of motivation as the excitement and the initial drive have kind of gotten a little more?
Yeah, I think, well, for a while it felt like a little bit of a solitary experience. But since we've been able to sort of like have other team members identify dreams, share, we've had Dream Day that you've like made into this amazing, exciting thing. It's allowed me to sort of just absorb. One, I can kind of like ride off of the inspiration and the excitement and the tunnel, the clap tunnel of their experience. But two, just getting to kind of reinforce the why behind why I decided to do it in the first place. And so in those days when the traffic stinks to get up to LA and you know, the paper is being done at like 12 o'clock at night or 5 o'clock in the morning as it was yesterday. It definitely through osmosis, that has been a huge thing. I think also the people that we're privileged enough to work alongside sort of carry that mantle in a lot of ways. And I was joking that something Taylor said a long time ago has actually been something that's kind of like come back to my memory, and that idea that like you have to jump without the rope to go further than you thought possible. So
no safety net.
Right, no safety net. So yeah, I think we're rife with people kind of at CTC pursuing their dreams or being entrepreneurs of their own lives. There's a lot of people here that are sort of walking the talk, and so thankfully being able to kind of address that, like, yeah, it's hard, but it's worth it. You know, it's hard, but this is what I'm pursuing my dream, and that is amazing, even though it's hard. It's just been nice to feel sort of like cared for and supported in that process as well.
Yeah, totally. I love that you brought up the concept of community and getting inspiration and encouragement by osmosis through other people's excitement.
Yeah.
something we just added to TMYD, for those of you who don't know, is a group setting where after people have declared their dreams, they now enter a pursuit group where, in addition to meeting with Tommy once a month to talk one-on-one, they're also in a group of about 4 to 8 people where collectively you guys all band together once a month to discuss where you're at in the process, what have been some roadblocks, setting up goals that you want to accomplish on the pursuit of your dream. And so
I'm excited to start doing that. Yeah, I think that'll be really
you haven't
huge.
even started yet. So
yeah, I think next week is our first.
Next week?
Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming. So now you'll have monthly doses of people all in the same room who are all hyped on the excitement of their dream.
Absolutely. I think, it's cool that we can allocate that space to just kind of share and connect on that stuff, because I know for a fact that there's a ton of people doing, or they're pursuing their dreams like I am, and everybody's also doing so much for their own jobs that it can sometimes, to be able to have the space allocated, I think will be, just to talk about dreams and like their personal journeys will be really, really fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
And encourage each other. Yeah.
Before we sign off, is there any advice that you would give to the world's dreamers?
Oh my goodness. I feel like, and I kind of, with the whole jump without the rope.
Jump without the rope.
I think you just got to do it. I know that that's kind of there's a privilege in being able to sort of give time to do my dreams specifically, and I recognize that. I think that there's a lot of things that people, without sounding like a bumper sticker, people say they want to do, and you should just kind of just do it. That the trust that the rope will be there to catch you, and that like the people who, even though it feels like a risk and that's important to acknowledge, the pathway of support will definitely show up. I don't know. I believe that so wholeheartedly as somebody who's like kind of risk averse, and this is not really my general inclination, but it's just been time and time again. There's sort of in stepping out and stepping into this sort of uncharted territory, it's been like, all right, we'll see. The pathway just kind of presents itself little by little, even if it doesn't make full sense.
And your capacity will probably unfold in ways you didn't even know was
expanded
possible
capacity.
too. Like,
Absolutely.
You will become your own rope.
Right. Yeah. You'll surprise yourself, I think, in the process too. But yeah.
Well, I love you, and I love your dream.
I love you.
So thank you for being on the Dream Show. Thank you for coming and sharing, and we will check back in.
Yes. Thanks, Morgan.
Thanks, guys.